I'm going to do one more before the coffee break, I think. So we're going to move onto pigs, start moving on to the monogastric side. And to present this session on pigs is Charlotte Evans, again from AHDB. It's no surprise, actually, I should have said earlier that we've got two speakers from AHDB who have been with this project absolutely right from the beginning. So Charlotte, again, as many of you know, is the Technical Innovation Manager for AHDB Port. So Charlotte, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kim. I think I can follow Bob the Builder. So I'm giving this talk on behalf of the research providers on the pig side. So please, for those of you in the audience, please feel free to shout at me if I say anything incorrect. So this is, I suppose, from AHDB's point of view, the way we see, the pig side as all coming together and working to address some of those problems really within the industry. So to start with, the research providers you see here above you, so Leeds, AFBI, Newcastle, SRC, SRUC and Roslin. Roslin, if you like, is almost the umbrella to all of the other research providers. So through the network, we have a huge opportunity to collect a lot of samples from a lot of pigs and feed those into Roslin to do a lot more physiology, genetic phenotype work that really is critical and underlying all of the work that goes on at the other centres. I'm really pleased to say that when everything's built, the centre will have so much replication. So on the south side, we've got 900 sows in total, all individually monitored, and again have the capacity for those for that massive gene pool information to be fed back to Roslin. Also got the flexibility of having 200 sows outdoors, which is so critical, of course, for the industry that's 40% outdoors at the minute. So we can really look to see those seasonality effects outdoors, how we actually manage that new genotype outdoors as well. And again, on the replication side, there's the flexibility in terms of pen design. So we can change the group sizes, feeder space allowance, diet and everything in those individual pens. So not only looking at how we actually house this modern genotype, what exactly does it need in order to perform to its greatest potential, but also gives us again that high replication that we really, really need to get the data in a shorter space of time as possible. Around about 20% of the grower finishers will all be individually monitored in terms of feed intake. So can not only look at the food conversion ratios and everything of those pigs, but also things like what impacts on appetite and so on, and how we increase the potential of each of those animals. So again, this is on the replication side, so 900 sows individually fed, and again, more than 50 of those fire feeding stations, so 50 pens worth of experimental units to give us all of that really, really critical data on feed conversion, how they're growing, and digestibility and so on. So listening to the other talks, fairly similar, I suppose, in the way in which we're trying to really, really identify what's produced from each of these animals. So compartmentalise slurry pits to actually have a look at, the digestibility and so on of the animals, and also, what type of emissions we're seeing from these animals as well. So completely compartmentalised, where we can sample air samples, sample what's actually coming out of the animals within the slurry, and things like ileal digestibility studies. So not only taking samples out of the gut at various stages, but actually putting things into the gut at various stages to look at digestibility, what impacts on that, how we can keep things moving through the gut, and looking at things like the impact on hindgut fermentation. Water is becoming ever more important in the industry. Obviously, there's a need to move away from in-feed to in-water medication and improving hygiene. So throughout the pig centres, what we're seeing is multiple pipelines going through into pens. So we can not only look at best ways of reducing wastage, because obviously we don't want lots of water going into slurry pits, but also things like on the precision side, can we use water intake to predict health problems on the units, And how can we best medicate pigs using this route to optimise antimicrobial usage into the future? At the moment, we don't really have a lot of information on which to influence policy. We don't really know about nutrient heavy metal emissions. We don't really know what's leaching from the soils. We don't really know what's coming out of the pig. So, as I said before, not only will they have these compartmentalised slurry pits, but also these chambers where we can look at gas emissions as well. And of course, there's always a need for us to differentiate ourselves in terms of welfare systems. And the holy grail, I suppose, is being able to produce a pig system that will actually negate the need to tail dock. So on the welfare side, not only looking at penning and flooring, but also looking at the optimum housing environment of these sows. And like I said before, the potential to feed all of that information back into the genotype and the phenotype work, so we can actually understand, what things improve mothering ability within the sow world, and how we best house those animals as well as their grower finishers. So I'm also going to admit that I don't understand some of these things as well as Kim. So the electronic workshop, someone might be able to explain a little bit better than me, but the way I understand it is with the gate laboratory at least, we have the ability to basically pinpoint various different points on the limbs and be able to see how those limbs and the pinpoints move around to look at gates and so on. So again, looking at both health and welfare and also the production management side. And I'm guessing that this side will also link into EpiAgri, like on the beef and sheep side as well, so we get maximum output there. And again, on the pig side, of course, we're not castrating, we're taking pigs heavier. There's more and more of a need to understand how we maintain our meat quality outputs, and also understanding how our different genotype affects the carcass. Not only looking at the mechanical shear force experiments in terms of meat quality, but also looking at the nutritional aspect. So how do things like fatty acids improve the meat quality, but also doing tasting as well, to make sure we maintain our differential there. So this is where I feel that the CL's strengths lie within the pig side. I think the diversity to start with in all of the centres, and that linking together with Roslyn provides such a nice base for all of this work to continue. But also, 4 professors, 10 scientists across the whole piece. We're looking at outdoor, indoor, we're looking at the health side, we're looking at the environment, every single aspect of the pig production system all the way through to the meat quality and the carcass yield. So it really does bring together everything, hopefully, and we'll link in with these other sectors as well. And this is what it will achieve. Thank you very much.
Good. Thanks, Charlotte.